is the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 149. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. We're talking Golden Gopher football this week as the Gophers are lining up to take on the border rival Wisconsin Badgers in a Black Friday game this week. We'll get a preview with Gopher kicker Dragan Kesich. He's from Wisconsin. He'll be playing his final regular season game for Minnesota on Friday. He's been on our podcast many times before. If you've listened before, you know he's an entertaining guest. Our Go Gopher podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no cost, no obligation business valuation started today. Hey, make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union is also a big sponsor of the Go Gopher podcast. Life math is complicated, and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union makes it easier with local financial experts available to help in person or virtually. Go to affinityplus.org/Go Gophers for more info. We also want to thank Affinity Plus for sponsoring our player profile segment with today's guest, Dragan Kesich. Dragan will receive a gift card for his appearance courtesy of the great folks at Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Longtime Gopher sports supporter Cub is a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher podcast with Mike Grimm. In a hurry, don't worry. Cub delivers. Get fresh meat, produce, everyday essentials, and more delivered to your door. Cub is the official grocer of the Golden Gophers and proud to support Gopher athletics for over 20 years. The Go Gopher podcast is also presented by OnX Hunt, and we're podcasting episode 149 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We invite you to subscribe to the Go Gopher podcast. It's free to do so. You can also go back and listen to previous Go Gopher podcasts. Last week, for example, we spoke with Gopher superstar wrestler Gable Steveson. He told us all kinds of good things, including that he'd eventually like to be the head wrestling coach at Minnesota sometime down the road. Go back and have a listen. He's already off to a 2-0 start. This week, we're talking Golden Gopher football with the big personality with the big foot. Here it is. Gopher kicker Dragan Kesich is next.
I'm Clay Geary, walk-on turned scholarship wide receiver for Gopher football.
And I'm Ben Utek, U of M alumni, Super Bowl champion, and Tony Dungy Uncommon Award winner.
We understand championship culture, which is why we're part of the True North family of companies.
True North invests in only elite teams, like the champion team at Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and our diverse family of independently owned companies, visit TrueNorthEquityPartners.com.
When we say that Cub milk is the freshest in town, we mean it. Less than 48 hours from farm to store fresh. We guarantee 7 days or more of freshness. It all starts with local dairy farmers who take great care in making sure all the cows are happy and healthy. We support local farm families 365 days a year. And that makes our milk even more delicious. So you always get the freshest milk and the biggest smiles.
Episode 149, the Go Gopher podcast rolls on. It's our pleasure to welcome to the podcast the reigning Big Ten kicker of the year. He's always one of our favorites, Dragan Kesich with the Golden Gophers. This is, I think, your third visit with us here on the Go Gopher podcast.
It is, and it's always an honor to be on this podcast. Thanks for having me.
You are always great and obliging. We had you on the radio show last week, you and Tuesday, Crawford, and that was fun. And here we are chatting now as I can't believe the season's almost over. Last week of the year here, as we talk, it's Tuesday and Friday, short week, Black Friday game in your home state.
Home state of Wisconsin, baby. It's kind of crazy. Like, I talk with Crawford all the time, and you know, at the start of the season, I'm like, Penn State, Wisconsin, the end of the season, like, that's going to be fun, and it's already here.
It's here. Yeah, the time does fly. It's crazy. I talked to Lindenberg, which fans will hear on our pregame show. I taped that with him after practice today, and he used the old line, and it's 100% true. And just wait till you get my age, because it's even more true. As you get older, time goes faster, probably just because of the realm of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
When you're 10 years old, 1 year is like 10% of your life. When you're 50, it's not so much. So
Yeah,
it
exactly.
goes quicker. But, you know, the days are long and the weeks fly by. It's like like today, oh, this is a long day. We got a lot. You had practice, you got homework, you got this, you got that. By the time you go to bed, you're like, man, long day. All of a sudden, it's Tuesday again.
It's crazy. What's the saying? It's like time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah,
yeah. Like we woke up this morning, had a lift, had practice. Now I'm here, and it's unreal.
Yeah, and it's it for you. I mean, it's winding down.
It is. We got Wisconsin, and then one more month with the boys when we find out which bowl game we have.
You're gonna play in the bowl.
Yeah. I'll play in the bowl, and then kind of enjoy it at that point. Yeah. Just enjoy every moment, because like it doesn't last forever. Obviously, like you want to play football at the next level, but you're not guaranteed to. So it's just enjoying it and having a good time with the brothers at this point. Yeah,
and what's the emotion like too? Because these are friends now. You've developed friendships with some of these guys. Like in fact, when I finished the interview taping with Lindenberg just a little while ago, he came. He's like, "Do you see Dragan's pads out there? Because we're gonna have lunch. I'm gonna eat with him. I'm gonna hang, And so he didn't know. And I said, "Well, I'm taping a podcast with him. He said he was gonna eat and shower. He's like, okay, I'll go meet him and eat.
Yeah.
So, but I'm telling you, these are good buddies of yours.
Yeah, 100%.
So, is it bittersweet here as it's winding down, but you want to soak it all in, and you're going to be buddies.
Yeah.
But this is this is it here.
Yeah, it's definitely bittersweet. Cody and I, well, not only Cody and I, a bunch of me and the guys on the team all came in 2020, which is a weird time to come in, but we've been here for 5 years now. We've built a camaraderie and a chemistry that's untouchable. After practice, we have a routine where we go to the AV&C, we eat, and then we go upstairs and do all the treatment and stuff, because then the tubs are less full because everybody's out of there and stuff. So it's going to be weird, especially me moving back home after the season, not being able, going from seeing these guys every single day, literally every single day, to not seeing them at all. It's going to be really weird, but I'm enjoying it and soaking it all up right now. We'll still keep in touch, shout out technology.
Yeah, no
FaceTime and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's gonna be bittersweet, but I think it's time to move on.
Yeah, there becomes a point where you look forward to the new leg of the journey.
100%. Yeah. I think after Wisconsin, hopefully getting that axe back, and then just seeing what happens after that. Like, it's just a journey I'm excited to be on.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that in terms of what your goals are along down the road. But just in relation to you guys, Cody was talking about, not in the interview, but just off the air, you guys got back from the UCLA game and still did your Taco Bell thing. So how many are in this Taco Bell group?
Yeah, well, there's a hardcore, 5 of us.
Okay.
It's myself, Crawford, Derek the captain, Cody, Lindenberg, Coleman, Bryson. Okay, so there's 6 of us, and then Coach Lukaszewski.
He does it too.
Yeah. So it's us 6, but then we'll invite everybody. We'll say, hey, if you guys are up to it, come join us, and then we go and we splurge. And we didn't get back from UCLA till 7:30, and first thing we did was straight to Taco Bell.
So it was breakfast.
Yeah, but we didn't get breakfast.
You got regular tacos?
Yeah, I got my
What's your go-to order?
Steak grilled cheese burrito, 2 of them. 2. With a chicken chalupa.
Okay.
And then if I'm still feeling hungry, I'll get 2 more grilled cheese burritos. I'm telling you, grilled cheese burrito is the best thing ever.
Grilled cheese burrito.
Steak.
I'm going to have to try that.
Steak, grilled cheese burrito. It's unreal. And I think I'm lactose intolerant, so that's why I eat it after the games, because my body has time to digest it.
Yeah. I actually made a Taco Bell run after the Gopher basketball game last night.
I'm telling you, it's not arguably, I would say it's the greatest fast food place.
It's fast, which is nice. You don't have to wait long. They can make that stuff so quick.
100%.
And 2, last night I didn't even know what I saw. It is confusing. They have so many options. Sometimes you just get overwhelmed. You stand at the drive-thru. You got 4 people behind you. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know what I want.
But they have this apple caramel or other.
Yeah, yes.
That thing is.
I haven't had it, but I saw
from the 90s.
Yeah.
So I said I got to throw that in as an impulse purchase. It was delicious.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the other one I could compare it to is Culver's, but I don't know if Culver's is necessarily fast food, because Culver's is pretty high quality.
Yeah, well, Culver's is the hamburgers are great, but that's the 4th best thing on the menu.
Yeah.
The pork tenderloin, the chicken sandwich, the fish.
Yes, it's unreal.
If they got the stuffed green pepper soup, man, I've
never had that.
Oh, man, they don't have it every day.
Okay.
So you got to, I call over. Hey, you got the soup? Then I go.
Fun fact, though. The cheese curds at a Culver's in Wisconsin is better than the cheese curds in Minnesota.
Is it different cheese?
I don't know, but maybe it's just a bias thing, but it tastes better.
It tastes better.
It tastes better.
In
It
the
tastes
land
different.
of milk and the land of dairy.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Culver's is rock solid as too. And of course, with Culver's, if the Gopher hockey team scores 5 goals, you get the free custard the next day.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
So if you go to a hockey game and the Gophers are sitting on 4 goals a home game, the student section, the ice box is going nuts, and they start chanting Culver's because they get free custard the next day.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's a good deal. Yeah, for sure. So this. So most of the time you go after the game to the Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah,
right?
every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, every game. It's just regardless of what time it is, it's
home and road.
Home and road.
The plane gets here and you get back
and
to
then we
campus.
get back, and then we'll kind of call each other and be like, "Hey, you guys ready?" And then we hop in the car, and then we go Taco Bell.
What's the biggest crowd? So you have the 6 core group, and then you get some tag-alongs.
Yeah, there was one time, I might have been UCLA. I want to say we had like 15, 16 guys.
Yeah.
And we're all just like sitting in there, like eating for like a half an hour, 45 minutes, just talking and just eating.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing to like get your mind off football, like we just got back from UCLA.
And did that start, was it this year, or has that been something going on since you?
It's been a thing with Crawford, Derek, and I, where we kind of just go. But this year it was like we invited Coach Kesich.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, like, you want to go with us? He's like, yeah, why not? And then every week, and then Coleman and Cody joined this year as well.
Yeah.
And it's just been a hell of a ride.
Yeah, for sure. How's Coach Lake been? How do you like him?
I love that man. He's awesome. He's got so much knowledge. He's so fun to be around. He has a lot. I've said this before, but he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to movies. So I'm not in class right now. I finished my degree.
Yeah.
So he gives me a lot of movie recommendations when I have free time to watch.
Yeah.
So he's awesome. He's taught me so much. He's helped me on the mental side of kicking, obviously, because kicking's mental. And when you don't have the start to the season that you want, it kind of gets hard. But with Coach Lake by my side and my teammates by my side, it made it so much easier.
Yeah, and now you're hitting them here too.
Yeah, knock on wood, right?
Yeah, knock on wood. Always got to have that little superstition.
Yeah,
and he's been everywhere, right? I mean, you think about the experience he's had. He's got a Super Bowl ring.
Like he was coaching James Harrison, like that Pittsburgh Steelers team with Troy Polamalu and all those guys. Ben Roethlisberger, like he was on that team.
That's his hometown, right?
Yeah. So he's been so many places. He's been doing it for so long. He's got so much knowledge. So I'm grateful to have him here. Yeah,
I watch him in practice, and I just get a kick out of him because he's so seasoned. And sometimes I can tell he's like, I'm working with a 20-year-old. Get over here, like just here.
When you see him at practice, he's already been up for 8 hours.
Yeah, right.
He goes on 8-mile runs every morning, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how you do it, especially when it gets cold out here. I don't know how he's doing it.
He's a beast for sure.
Yeah, he is 100%.
So let's talk about Penn State. You guys played really well. You had them on the ropes.
Yeah.
PJ yesterday or today on the radio show talked about the sadness in the locker room, but yet there was one. It showed this group how tight it was and how meaningful the game is to you. But two, kind of hey, we're pushing forward through this. So take me through your thoughts post game. Yeah,
obviously it was tough because we knew we had them. Yeah, we were right there with the number 4 team in the country. It was a good place to be in. We were confident. We were playing hard. We were flying around. And when you can't get the result you're hoping for, it's tough. Moral victories like, oh yeah, you were 1 point within the 4th ranked team in the country, but we're not really into moral victories like that. But in the locker room, it was bittersweet. It was obviously senior night. It was sad we couldn't get it for the seniors, but everybody's heads were up. Coach Fleck comes in, tells us, he's like, I want you guys to be proud of yourselves. Like, you guys put up a fight, but now we got to move on to Wisconsin. And everybody knows how important the Axe Week is. Yeah. So it's kind of like you have the rest of that day to reflect on what you could have done better against Penn State. But then the next day, since it's a short week, we got to get ready for Axe.
Yeah.
So it was a good message. The boys are on board, and everybody's fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, it's a Friday game, and there's a travel day on Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah.
And as the game's unfolding, you have to, I would guess, you're starting to gear up that you might win this game. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to get your mind. So take me through, you kick the field goal to bring it to within one.
Yeah.
So PJ goes, we're going to kick the field goal here. I agreed with the call. He's getting hit by some people saying, you should have gone for it. It was 4th and goal from the 9.
Yeah.
Unlikely you're going to get that.
Correct.
The beauty is he knows he's got a kid with a big leg.
Yeah.
You get a stop. Now you've got a chance to win it on a field goal. You don't have to go all the way down the field. So as that as a backdrop, you hit it. You're down 1 now.
Yep.
5-ish minutes left.
Correct.
Need to stop. They got it to 4th down 3 times.
Yes.
Just couldn't quite get it. So as a kicker, you're thinking you got to be starting to get your mind right here?
Yeah. So it was actually, after the field goal and then after the kickoff, Coach Fleck comes up to me. He's like, hey, be ready to win it. And I was like, yeah, I mean, let's ride. Let's get it done. So I go up to Crawford. And I'm like, hey, be ready. Like, our name's going to be called. I went up to Allen. I was like, hey, get ready. Like, it's going to come down to us. So the first 4th down, like before that, like when they ran the fake punt, I was kicking into the net because it was like 4th down. And I was like, all right, like we're getting the ball back, let's go. And I hear the crowd like going like, oh, and I was like, what's happening? I turned, the guy's running with the ball. I was like, what just happened? And then we all know what happened. But I was just telling myself, like, let's go. It's going to come down to you. Like, be ready. Like, I didn't even have, like, North Carolina in my head. You know, a lot of people, like, want to think back and be like, oh, like, but I didn't even have that in my head. I was so locked in, ready to go. I wanted it so bad.
You were going to win the game.
I wanted it so bad, so bad. And unfortunately, we couldn't get it done, but maybe it's saving it for Wisconsin.
A winner this weekend would certainly be good. You brought North Carolina. We talked about it on the coaches show a little bit as well, and I know you talked with the dudes on the power trip about it. You started 3 for 6 on the season.
Yeah.
I looked. Since then, you're 15 of 18. You've hit 11 in a row. You're 12 of your last 13, 13 of your last 15. So and here's the thing, of the three for your first 6, I think 2 were 50-plus yards.
2 of them were,
Plus you had the one at Michigan in the rain that missed by an inch. 55 yards.
That was a 55-yard,
so it isn't like you were just shanking them or hitting them low and they were 10 yards short. I mean, even the North Carolina kick was over the upright.
Just
like you're maybe 24 inches from winning the game.
Correct.
Right? So I mean, it isn't like you were really struggling, but how do you fight through that and what mechanically maybe changed?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that changed for me, so obviously after the bye week is where I've seen the most improvement, I guess. And it was when it was at the halftime of the UCLA game after, I think it was a 40-yarder that I missed. And Coach Fleck came up to me and he said, I can't believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And then after that moment, I was like, he's 100% right. And then and I don't know what clicked, something finally clicked back. And those words just completely changed the trajectory of the season for myself. And I've been in a position where I've been able to help the team win games now and do my part. So it's been helpful. And some things I've worked on is just finishing down. Coach Legg and I talk about it all the time, finishing downfield rather than falling off to the right, because all my misses have been to the right. So instead of falling off to the right, just finishing straight downfield and just keeping keeping my club face open so the ball stays straighter. So those couple words that Coach Fleck said to me really changed the trajectory of the season. When
you strike the ball, I don't even know the answer to this. Are you kicking on the inside of your foot or the top of your foot?
It's like it's in between.
So it's like you got the ridge there.
And then there's like that big bone on your foot. You can feel it. And then you're kind of just hitting it right there.
And you just hit that. And your soccer background, is that all part of it?
Yeah, I think 100%, because, there's like growing up, I was always told I had a strong leg. And the reason I started playing football, got into kicking, is because we'd play kickball at recess in elementary school. And my buddies played football. I didn't play football yet. And they're like, hey, like, you should come be our kicker. And, like, you have a strong leg. And I was like, whatever. So I talked to my dad. And my dad's like, no, you're not going to play football. And then finally a year later, he let me play football. And he's like, you're going to be a kicker. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. Long and behold, I'm here.
Here you are.
Yeah, from soccer,
scoring hundreds of goals when you're 12 years old, right?
Yeah, and then I just got too big to play soccer, and now I'm done.
Yeah, and your dad was a soccer athlete also?
Yeah, he played soccer here, and then when he moved back to Serbia, he played there, and then when he came back, he played here again. My brother played Division II soccer, so soccer family.
So you think there was some mechanics and some mental part of the correction? If there was needed to be a correction, it was slight. And
I would say it was both mental and physical. Obviously, as I said, kicking's a lot more mental than it is physical. So getting your mind right. Usually when you have your mind right, like, kind of the physical attributes are in tune. So once I got my mind right, I think everything was good to go after that.
Yeah. Let me mention real quick one of our sponsors, Affinity Plus, here on our Go Gopher podcast. They are your local credit union, proudly serving Minnesota since 1930, and a proud sponsor of Gopher athletics, including the Go Gopher podcast. If you're a current Gopher student or a proud Gopher alum, that makes you eligible to join a financial that wants to build a meaningful banking relationship and put you first. You can meet with a local employee at any of their branches statewide, including right off campus here in Minneapolis on University, and branches all over the state. To learn more and find other ways to connect, their webpage is this: affinityplus.org/Go Gophers, affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA, people-centered banking, perfect for Gophers. They sponsor our player profile, so they have a gift card for Dragan Kesich today. So,
thank you very much.
Yeah, we thank them. They're just great folks. They're doing a lot with Special Olympics. Mara Braun on the Gopher women's basketball team has teamed up with them to do a lot of stuff with Special Olympics here this season, so that's kind of fun too. All right, let's talk about, speaking of giving and serving, which of course is one of the pedestals of Gopher football. And tonight, as we record, this is Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. It's in the afternoon here. But tonight, you and a bunch of your teammates are going to be handing out 500 turkeys to 500 families in the Twin Cities. Get a little bit of a drive-through. Just we're on campus here, just not too far from here. And you've been part of this before, so take us through on a game week, on a short week. PJ talked about it on his radio show today. He's like, we're not going to do this, even if it takes some time away from other stuff. We're going to help. Yeah,
it's been a thing we've done since I've been here. I'm in the same station that I've been in for 4 or 5 years. So Crawford and I work the hot chocolate station. So we're the very last station. So they kind of pull into the facility and they pull back, and then there's all guys giving out turkeys and things like that, which, by the way, shout out Cub Foods for supplying us with 500 some turkeys. And Coca-Cola gave us a bunch of stuff, so thank you guys very much.
Turkey and Coke on Thanksgiving.
Perfect, right? Nothing more. Nothing better. Exactly.
But Cub, by the way, is one of our sponsors on our podcast, too, so tip of the cap to them and providing turkey and I think some other food items,
there's
too.
A bunch of other stuff. Everything you need for a Thanksgiving
Stuffing
dinner.
And there's a
green
mini
beans,
cake and some green beans.
So it's awesome. And there's just a little tunnel the guys form. Like everybody has their own station. Like there's a turkey handout station. There's a guys in costume station. There's a dance station. There's a hype station. There's all these different stations just to give the good vibes on the holiday season to give back to the community.
It's great. So they come through Tuesday, and now they've got all the food and fixins for a special Thanksgiving for sure.
Yeah.
And that's one of many events. PJ talks about the Halloween event where all you guys dress up. That the Hope kids come in, right?
Yeah, that was amazing. That might have been my most favorite Halloween parade because of the costume.
This year.
This year. So myself, Cody Lindenberg, and Joe Wisniewski, who's our AT trainer.
Yeah.
So we wore a dress shirt with a tie, sunglasses, and then a fedora, and we were a human slot machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was we made we cut boxes. So there was 3 windows, and then we would go, oh, and then they would pull a lever, and then we would hold up a random fruit in front of us. And then if we all held up the same fruit, it'd be a jackpot.
Oh, my gosh. How'd you get this idea?
Joe found it on Instagram or something.
No kidding.
And we're like, let's teach kids about gambling at a young age. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Get them hooked. Get them hooked right away. Get to the casino, kids.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. Joe's an awesome dude. I just spent some time talking with him at practice. And, we had Altman Bell on this podcast after he got hurt a couple of years ago. I guess it was last year, right? I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Years all run together. But anyway, Chris talked about how Joe and the rest of the staff through his rehab so important, not just even physically rehab, but being a friend.
100%. That whole training room with Katie, Ashley, Sip, and Joe, it's they're in the football facility, but you go in there to get away from football, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially with Joe. Joe's just one of the funniest dudes I've ever met. So it's it helps you, if you're going through something tough, to just go in there and talk to him, and he'll get your mind off it for sure.
Yeah. I've noticed that too at other places I've been and other sports too. The former players come back, and one of the first places they go is to the training. We got to see the trainer. We got to see the staff, equipment guys too.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to see the coaches and all that, but the training staff is
because you spend a majority of your time with the training staff and with the EQ room. Because when you're there, for fall camp, for instance, you're in the training room, getting treatment for hours a day. You're talking with especially when it gets cold, you're talking with EQ. Let me get my cold gear, stuff like that. So it's you're constantly talking with these people who aren't coaches. And when you come back, I guess I'll find out who I go talk to first when I come back. But, it'll be interesting.
Speaking of cold gear and cold weather and all that stuff, it was, I'll tell you what, it got cold by the end of practice today as we talk on Tuesday, but it's going to be upper 20s, it sounds like. So nothing's going to be colder than the Iowa game a couple years ago, which
nothing.
Was brutal.
Yeah.
But this isn't going to be, I thought the Penn State game was fine.
Nothing
wrong there. 40 degrees. Yeah. You can do that. Not that this is going to be bad, but how do you handle cold weather as a kicker?
Yeah.
And wind. It's going to be a little windy.
Yeah, it's going to be windy, but it's nice because on the sideline we all have those heaters and things, and there's these foot heater things that keep your feet warm. So I guess it's for me is just keeping my lower extremities warm is the biggest part. We have those jackets that you can wear and stuff. So it's a lot different. When you're at practice, it's obviously really cold, but when you're at game, you have all those heaters and things like that. So just keeping my feet warm and just getting kicks in at the right time, so I'm not over kicking, but I'm still keeping my leg loose.
When it's cold, does the ball does it hurt your foot more?
Yeah,
does it get
it
harder,
gets hard.
I guess?
Yeah, it gets hard. It definitely takes distance off your field goals and kickoffs. I mean, depending on how cold it is in the wind, like that depends on how much it takes off. But yeah, the cold definitely affects the football and how far the distance of it that it travels.
How much, too, not to give any strategy away, because I don't know what the strategy is in terms of, one, field goals. Okay, so now in pregame, you're going to kind of dial in. You've talked about that on the show before, about you and PJ, and I'm sure Coach Ligg will talk about how far do you feel that's good and what hash or whatever else. Yeah. But kickoffs, maybe, if the wind's really – I mean, you got the strong enough leg. Normally you can boom it out if you're asked to. Yeah. But maybe if the wind's strong, there may be a strategy there that you have to do something different. Yeah, so pregame I'll just go out there and, depending on how strong the wind is, it's see with the wind how far I can hit it, against the wind how far I can hit it, and then just give those distances to Coach Ligg. And then when it comes down into the game, like if it's a yard behind that, like do I feel comfortable, like stuff like that. But yeah, like kickoffs, it's kind of just like see what the wind does and see what kind of kick we want to do. I mean, I don't think it's supposed to be too strong. I'm not sure. Maybe I think like 8 to 12 miles an hour, which I mean will affect the ball in the air, because you think about like when you kick a ball, it's end over end rather than like a quarterback when he spirals it pierces the wind. Cuts through, yeah, end over end, like gets eaten alive by the wind. So was it Trickett that had the day at Nebraska a couple years ago, right? Yeah, where it was like 30-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, I remember. He had some big-time field goals that game. I was like, dude, I don't know how you did that. That was probably in terms of just dealing with conditions, the hardest game I think a kicker would have had in my time here, and he nailed it. Yeah, he was a technician when it came to just everything. Like, he taught me so much. And I remember that game like it was yesterday. Those field goals that he hit was into that wind. I was like, beautiful. And that one that really kind of sealed it, it was going. He hit it beautifully, but it was leaking by the wind was just pushing it, and it crossed over, and he got it and got it. And that was a big time comeback win, because we were down 10-0 at half or something like that. We're down 10 at half. 10 at half. They scored 10 or 14 on their first 2 drives, and then we shut them out. The rest of the way. But crazy. I think maybe I can't remember, but it was a nice win. I think Athan came in at halftime, right? Tanner got hurt on the last play of the first half. The big 300-pounder just crushed them. But anyway, that was those are good memories. And speaking of that, what will you, as we're kind of winding down, at least the regular season, as you mentioned, you got another month with the guys in a bowl game, hopefully somewhere nice that you guys can enjoy. But what will you kind of reflect on? And have you started that process yet of all right, what's this meant to me to be a Golden Gopher and to be part of this? Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to reflect on just all the memories that I've made here. Even when from when I first got here to being a freshman to not knowing what I'm doing to a fifth-year senior where it's like I've experienced everything you can here. I just think of the fall camp memories when we do all those different activities and we're together nonstop. And Crawford and I always talk about this is our last practice. This is our last time at the stadium. This is our last home game, things like that. And it is bittersweet to think about. I know for senior night, I got a bunch of letters from my family, and I was reading those, and I was like, wow. I haven't watched that video yet. I gotta watch it. I was like, wow, this is starting to hit. But it's like I said, there's things where it's it's time to come to an end. I mean, I would love to come back again if I could, obviously, but my eligibility's up, so I'm knowing that I can't come back. I'm kind of just accepting the fact that it's going to come to an end and just enjoying every moment as I can. Kickers in particular, I mean, they're part of the team. Oftentimes, though, I've been around teams, not as much here. You've had a nice run of kickers here. Yeah. You think of Carpenter and Trickett, and I'll probably forget a few over the years, but normally kickers kind of get shunned, right? I mean, these big, strong linebackers and others are like, I got to leave it in the hands of the kicker. Oh, he missed, whatever. But for your situation, you come in, as you mentioned, as a freshman. What do you think it's about you that had captured this team? Because you're a leader. Guys like you, you're a magnet. I mean, I observe, and you can tell. I mean, you got Lindenberg saying you want to eat. The big stud linebacker wants to eat with the kicker. Right. I mean, so what do you think it is about you that was able to turn a position that traditionally I don't think is a team leader? There's a few out there. Vinatieri seemed like was a guy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's just. I like talking. There's the first thing. So I just like going around and talking smack to guys, that's just my thing. I'm a competitive guy. So if I know somebody's favorite team is the Bulls, with Tyler Newbin, for example, he's a Bulls fan. I'm a Bucks fan. So if the Bucks would win, I'd go up to him. I'd be like, hey, Tyler, did you watch that game yesterday? Just stuff like that where
where I create conversation with like guys who you normally wouldn't create conversation with, like as a kicker. So that's just something I've always done, and it's something that has resonated with me. And I think that's just the biggest thing, is just creating conversation with people and then having fun with it, joking around, and just because I look at myself as somebody who can bring fun. You know, these guys, like during fall camp, they're practicing, and us kickers are kind of just on the side, like not really doing anything, you know? Yeah. So I like being in the locker room and just kind of giving guys a smile on their face and just joking around, playing silly music on the aux, just things like that.
Yeah. And I think it's been effective. I mean, it clearly has had an impact, which is kind of fun to watch how guys respond to you. And Crawford certainly, as the elder statesman on the team, has that as well.
Yeah, he always says, he's closer. I don't know if this is true. He says it though. He's closer in age to Coach Fleck than he is to like the incoming freshman, which is
let's think about that. So
he's 31.
He's 31.
I don't know.
So he'd be 12. If you're 18, you'd be 12, 13 years older than an incoming freshman.
Yeah.
And is Coach 42?
40. Yeah, something like that.
43.
So maybe he is.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's pretty impressive.
I'm always like, Croft, like. How old are you here? He's like, yeah, when I was a senior in high school, you were like in 4th grade. I was like, dude, whoa. That is what?
I'm looking it up here while we talk.
Yeah.
PJ Fleck is 43.
Okay, yeah, across so 12 years.
So it's about even, split in the middle.
Holy, that's crazy.
Yeah. So basically, PJ Fleck was 12 years old when Crawford was born, and Crawford was 12 years old when the freshmen were born.
Yeah.
Right?
Crawford was 12 years old when Coy Parrish was born.
Yeah. And PJ was 12 years old when Crawford was born. And here they are, all on the same team.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's crazy to think about. Yeah, but he's also a guy who connects the team. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Everybody likes to ask him about Australia, and just he has a different perspective on life than all of us because he's obviously 18 years older than all of us, whatever he is.
Yeah.
So it's good to have him here.
Yeah, for sure. Let me mention one more sponsor here, and we'll wrap things up with Dragan Kesich on the Go Gopher Podcast. Deer hunting season has arrived, and it's time to own your odds with OnX Hunt. It's the GPS hunting app trusted by millions of hunters. With the Hunt app, you'll have access to nationwide public and private land ownership information, waypoints, tracks, and much more. And it's all at your fingertips. Go to onxmaps.com/hunt and sign up today. Are you an outdoorsman at all?
I've never been hunting, but I do like fishing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you go out to Ottertail?
I have not. No,
I
did
you had
not.
some teammates that went out there.
Yeah, which looks really fun.
It looks good. Yeah, great place certainly to go fish. From Wisconsin, does this game now have extra meaning for you to be the final regular season game of your career?
I don't want to make it bigger than it is, but yes.
Yeah.
Because obviously being a Wisconsin kid, growing up a Badger fan, you want to go be a Badger. Yep. But I never got the opportunity. But I'm grateful because I got the opportunity to come here. And, God always has a plan, and I think his plan was for me to come here, and I would not change it for the world. I'm happy to be here, and hopefully after this week I could have a winning record against the Badgers.
Yeah. Are you 2-2 right now? 2-2. Did you grow up a big college football fan?
Not really, but like I was just a Badger fan. You know, being from Wisconsin, like I didn't really. I was
just the team you see on TV.
Yeah, I was just a football, basketball Badger fan.
So who were some of the Badgers as you were like in 10th?
Melvin
10
Gordon,
years old, 12 years old. That you're.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon. Who else on it?
Trying to think back.
I'm trying to think who the Russell Wilson. I was a little bit before.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt obviously a little bit before, but yeah. When I really started watching, like Melvin Gordon was at running back, and that's when he just like completely
he was dropping 400 yards.
Jonathan Taylor, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Who else? Yeah, Ogumbawale. I don't even know how to say his name, but
right. Well, so you're watching them. Take me through again. You've probably talked about this. So you're a kid from Milwaukee. You've got a big leg. How did it end up that you ended up in Minnesota?
Yeah. So it was. I honestly thought I was going to go to Wisconsin because I was getting game day invites left and right, and obviously it's only like an hour and 15 minutes from my house, so I was going to all these games. And they ended up offering another kid from Wisconsin, a kicker. Shout out my boy Jack Van Dyke. No free shout-outs. But he ended up going there, and then I was like, oh, what am I going to do now? And then Coach Wanger, I went and camped in Minnesota, and I won the kickoff competition. And then Coach Wanger said, like, he'll be in touch with me, and then I didn't really hear anything till after the season. I got a random Twitter DM from Coach Wanger. He said, hey, you want to come on an official visit? And I was like, yeah, like, why not? So my parents and I come on the official visit. I loved it. I talked to my parents. I was like, I think I want to commit here. And I went into Coach Fleck's office the next morning at 7 a.m. This was the first time I met Cody Lindenberg and like Danny Strigo and all these guys. And I went into Coach Fleck's office and I said, I think I want to play here. And he goes, do you want to be here? And I was like, yes, Coach, I want to commit to the University of Minnesota. And the rest is history. And it was a really big reason was because I wanted to play the Badgers, and the Axe is the best college football rivalry in the country. So what better way to do it than be right here?
No doubt. What do you remember about winning the Axe the 2 times you've won it?
I remember Trill Carter holding up a sign that said, "Bring me that axe." That was the one at home. And then when we went and won it there, I just remember we won it, and I just turned and saw my dad. And the first thing we started doing is cheering. And then, the guy, like seeing Mariano chop down the goalpost. I mean, there's just so many memories involved, smoking cigars afterwards and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's just so many good things that come with winning the Axe.
And from that standpoint, then, you think about it, do you visualize things like this weekend as a kicker? Do you, being that it is maybe a more of a mental position than some others, do you spend some time like, all right, let's visualize a kick. Let's visualize winning the game. Let's visualize.
Correct. Visualization is big in the kicker world. Coach Simon and I talk about it all the time. You like to see things happen before they do. And I like I'll be laying in bed, like right before I go to bed, and I'll just be thinking about like situations in my head and just like seeing a ball go through the uprights. So, I mean, that's a big thing that I take part of.
Yeah. Do you, as a kicker, because everyone when they're kids, and especially if you're by yourself, right? If you're in your backyard or you're out in your driveway, you're at the free throw line, and for you it was probably, okay, Dragan Kesich, Milwaukee Bucks, to win it, and you make it, or you miss it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And kicking is probably one of those deals because it's hard, if you're just out messing around by yourself. I guess you could throw it to yourself. But do you spend any time at all thinking about, I can win a game this week for Friday?
Yeah. I mean, that's something kickers want, is a game-winning field goal. You live for those moments. And in a rivalry like this, to go out with a game-winning field goal to win it for my team would be unreal. And obviously it's not doable without Allen snapping it to Crawford holding it, and then the O-line and tight ends up front protecting. But that's definitely something I think about, because it's like, but you don't want to think about it too much, because then you start like false reality and stuff like that. But that's every kicker. If you ask every kicker, what's the one thing you want as a kicker? It'd be a walk-off game-winning field goal, especially against your biggest rival.
Oh, no doubt. And then you'd run down and grab that axe.
Oh, yeah.
Chop the goalpost down.
That would be the best way to end.
That would be the most exciting way to end. I wouldn't mind a 52-10 score winning either.
I would not mind having 7 extra points.
Yeah, that'd
0
be fun.
field goals, 7 extra points.
Well, work on that too.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But that, I think a walk-off field goal will be as exciting as it gets.
Oh yeah, that 100%. But like you said, if we could do it 63-10, I'm in.
We can do that.
I'm in.
Let's do that as well. Last line of questioning for you, and we'll let you get back to watching movies, I guess, since you don't have class. You got anything to queued up on the Netflix for later?
No, I've been watching Lego Masters.
Oh yeah, you're a big Legos guy.
Yeah, I've been watching it on Hulu, so I'm on season 4.
All right, so I lied to you that I forgot totally about this. You got to talk about the Lego thing going on with you here.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I've been done with class. So I was like, what am I going to do with all my time? Like, I don't just want to sleep. And like, I don't have a car on campus. So I was like, what am I going to do? So my brother was in town for work one week, and we went to the Mall of America, and we walked into the Lego store. I had no plans on buying anything. We just walked in there to look, and I ended up buying a lot of things. And at the time, these were like smaller things, like 1,500 pieces, like 1,000 pieces. So I built all those, and they're just like in our living room. And then I was like, I'm going to go with the big dogs next. So I bought like it was like a 1,800 piece Simba. And then I bought like the I always say Mythbusters, Ghostbusters card that was like 2,500 pieces.
Wow.
NASA space shuttle. That was like,
do they come with a plan so you know where to put the pieces?
Yes, you know where to put the pieces, because otherwise I would.
It's like when I was young, we had model cars.
Okay.
And they'd come and you'd put these cars together with this smelly glue.
Oh yeah, no glue on this.
But this is just this is better.
Yeah, it's way better.
So who's in your who do you room with it?
Me, Croft, Derek the captain, and Ryan Elgram.
Okay, so those guys are now watching you build, or are they helping?
Yeah, well, no, they watch. Like I just finished. It's the Notre Dame, the cathedral in France. That like start on fire or whatever, 4,500 pieces. So that took me like a week, and I finally finished it. So if you literally walk into our apartment, on top of the cabinets are all Legos, and then on the kitchen table is all Legos.
Are your roommates a little perturbed that their apartment's being taken over by Legos?
I mean, no, I don't think so.
They appreciate it?
Yeah, I think they appreciate it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I told them, I was like, hey, I'll move them into my room. And they're like, nah. You
Do
keep
they
them out
look
here.
cool, too?
Oh, my goodness. They're so sick. Like, I built the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and it looks epic. Like, it has the butterfly doors where they open up and stuff.
Man. So, like, how big is a 4,500 piece thing of Legos? I mean, in terms of what, is it a foot or two tall, or is it...
I would say, I mean, it's long.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably not 2 feet. I'm not really good at dimensions, but like, I would say, I don't even know, maybe like the sheet, no, long in 2 papers maybe.
Yeah.
But then tall, it's like, it's pretty tall because it's got some tall points to it. But like I got Ariante bought like a Bowser. He hasn't built it yet, but it's pretty big.
Him involved.
Yeah, Greg Johnson, Tyler Cooper, like all these, like we all go to the Lego store together and we buy this stuff.
All at the mall.
And sometimes we'll go, like Coleman and I and Cody and Maverick and Joe and us, we'll go to Target.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to drive 30 minutes or whatever.
And because they have Legos at Target.
Yeah, they have Legos at Target too.
Is it, are they expensive?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Is it? Is that right?
They're like $250. Like for the big ones that I bought, they're probably like $250 a pop.
You need an NIL deal with the Legos.
Or that and an NIL deal with like Mystic Lake maybe.
Yeah.
So it's like I can go win the money for Legos at Mystic Lake.
That would be it. That would be the way to do it. Maybe there's a Lego that has a blackjack table.
There we go.
Right?
Now we're talking.
Build a Lego blackjack table.
Hopefully Lego's listening because that's a great idea. That would sell wonders in the U.S.
The Dragan Kesich blackjack Lego table.
Perfect. There we go.
All right. So we did get sidetracked there, but I forgot you had mentioned that to me one other time about the Legos, and I'm glad that you brought it up because I think people get a kick out of that. All right. So last line of questioning now, I promise. National Football League hopes and dreams, and how much thought have you put into that? And do you talk to people, scouts, personnel people? How does it work?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously going to the NFL is a lifelong dream. Like, it's something that even as a kid, like, you think you want to be a professional athlete. Like, my brother and I talk, and he's like, yeah, as kids, like, we want to be professional athletes. Like, my brother wanted to be a professional soccer player. I just wanted to be a professional athlete. I didn't know what sport. And, so now that moment is so close for me, I guess, with one regular season game left, a bowl game, and then after that, you really have 4 months to see, like, if your dreams are going to come true. So it's something that I take wholeheartedly because not everybody gets to experience something like that. So I don't want to take it for granted.
Yeah.
And so I do talk, I mean, not really scouts or people like that, but like I talk to family members a lot. I talk to my parents, my brother, and just even Coach Ligg and Coach Fleck just about like the next level. Like, I don't have any idea what's going to happen. I don't have any idea about it. But obviously Coach Fleck played and coached there, Coach Ligg coached there. So they know what's going on. So I talk with them and just see what their opinion is, see what they got to say, and then kind of just forget about it because I don't want that to get in the way of the stuff we still got to finish this season,
So there's scouts oftentimes at practice. Are you cognizant of that? Do they come and watch?
Yeah, they're there, but I really don't let them affect me. Like, I don't think we can talk to them. I've never talked to a scout, so I don't really take anything like that.
There was a scout today, and he said he was going to look for body types.
Oh,
yeah. He's got to, you got to see that because there are, right. I mean, those guys know what to look for. Oh,
correct.
Defensive end, Jaw Joyner fits that profile.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, but it was, it's kind of fun sometimes to chat with them.
Oh, big time.
Well, so can Coach Ligg, with his background in special teams, how much of a resource can he be to help you prepare for this?
Tremendous resource because he's been through like NFL combines as a coordinator. Like, he knows the workouts that coordinators are going to put you through. He knows the questions they're going to ask. He just has so much knowledge when it comes to that, and he's put so many players through because he's been in college for a long time too, and he's put so many kickers and punters through that process. So him and I talk a lot about just like experiences he's had as a coordinator and as someone who's like sent kids there.
Yeah.
So he's been a really, really helpful.
Once so you're playing in the bowl game.
Yep.
And then once that's over, will you go work out somewhere at a kicking school or a camp or something?
Yeah. So I'll move back home because my kicking coach, he lives in Wisconsin. He's like 30 minutes from my house. So I'll go back and, save some money, live at home, train with him whenever I can. And then Jamie Cole, who runs Cole's Kicking, like they have like a training facility in Texas where like all the guys go and kick. So whenever they have a meeting there, I'll hop on a plane and hop down there and compete against the guys and compete with the guys. So yeah, it's nice having my kicking coach only 30 minutes from me because I can just live at home.
Are kickers part of the combine?
Yeah. So last year's combine was a little different. They had like 3 guys who were like invited to like do all the testing, like the running, the benching, all that stuff. But then like the last weekend or the last day, whatever it was, they invited like 7 more kickers
to kick,
just to kick, not like tests or anything like that. So to answer your question, yes.
You're hoping to get that in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, I would think.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get that. We'll see. Finish the season strong, and see what happens after that. Maybe if I could somehow sneak my way into a Senior Bowl, something like that. So kind of just staying on my toes.
Is there then a time too where teams will say, "Hey, can you come to our place and work out?" Or do they?
Yeah,
do they do that pre-draft?
I want to say yes. I mean, I'm not completely on 100% sure on that, but it sounds like that's something they would do. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just messed up.
I think there are some pre-draft visits.
Yeah.
Now maybe there's limits. Maybe kickers aren't. Maybe they want quarterbacks to take up those visits. I don't know.
Yeah, correct.
Either way, you've got something you're shooting for.
So definitely something to shoot for. But I think right now I'm shooting for that axe.
Let's get that game winner.
Oh my goodness, let's do it. Or let's win 63-10.
Either way. I was about to say on Saturday, but Saturday will be the celebration. Friday's the game. On Black Friday. Hey, always a pleasure, man. It's been fun, and thanks for coming on as always.
Thanks for having me one last time.
All right, Dragan Kesich, episode 149. My thanks to Gopher kicker Dragan Kesich. He is one of the best. It's always a pleasure catching up with Dragan, and I know you enjoyed listening to that conversation as much as I enjoyed being a part of it. Episode 149 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. We're also partnered with Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, a locally member-owned full-service financial invested in you. You can learn more at affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. That's affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. They also have an award-winning mobile app, so check that out. And Cub is a proud supporter of Gopher Athletics for over 20 years and a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm. Cub, bigger savings on the items you love. OnX Hunt also sponsors our show. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and right now, please click that subscribe button to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to subscribe and free to listen at any time. And please share the link to the podcast with others on your social media channels so others can subscribe and listen. And if you enjoyed the podcast, offer us some positive feedback on your social media and let us know how you like it. We'll talk again next week.